Natin sina Dr. Mangahas, Chair Emeritus sa Social Weather Stations o SWS at Professor Ranjit Rai. Gusto ko lang itanong sa inyo yung performance po ni Bam Aquino. Doon sa mga survey, hindi siya nasa top 5, no? Tapos ito na yung eleksyon, nag-number 2 pa. So talaga hubang unpredictable talaga itong ating mga botante sa tingin nyo sa SWS, Dr. Mangahas?
Ako, ang attitude ko, we just learn as we go along.
Yes,
so
of
now,
course.
so now we know how much things can change in the last minute. Ganun lang. You know, I'm an economist. Huh? I'm not a political scientist. But the importance of politics is that it validates surveys, and therefore you can use surveys for other topics like economics. Because it's with the politics that you can have a good way of seeing that the sample approximates the population.
Actually, you mentioned that you do the surveys not just to see which candidates are leading. Isa sa mga sinurvey nyo, di ba, Dr. Mangahas, kung ano yung mga isyong malapit sa mga Pilipino leading up to the elections.
Yeah.
So, and yung mga top answer, food security, tama po ba? Agriculture?
Well, those are other things. But ako, we are, okay, what are we for? We are for quality of life and well-being of the Filipinos. We have done poverty and hunger more than 100 times. And we don't stop, and it's going to continue. You see? And we don't need sponsors for that anymore. I mean, we are able already to survive. So the value of the politics is the continuing validation that what we're doing is valid for the other things, for the economics, in particular, for the well-being of the people. Right?
Pero yung naging mga resulta na yung sinabi nga ng mga Pilipino na yung mga, gaya ng sinabi ni Igan, mga problemang malapit sa sikmura, yun yung top concerns nila. Do you see na parang tugma yun dun sa naging resulta ng ating partial unofficial tally?
Well, ang inflation ay napaka-importante. Always been, okay? So yung mga gut issues. So talagang kung sino makakapangako, you know, na hindi tataas ang mga presyong masyado, malamang yun. Okay? But of course, they all do that. You know?
Okay.
Anyway.
Professor, yun lang, dugtong ko lang dun sa Bam Aquino result. Kasi pag tinignan mo yung mga kandidato, parang mix eh. Akala natin is an emotional election na between Duterte and the Marcos, di ba? Kasi parang iba tong Bam eh. Parang siya yung sa pink na mga sektor eh. So, anong nakita niyong factor? Ba't biglang parang taas siya?
Sa aming pag-aaral, Bam got the votes where he was registering votes in our survey. So that would be Balance Luzon and the National Capital Region.
Okay.
When you look at the... Well, I saw this from another TV station. Kasi ang problem namin ngayon, hindi pa natin nakukuha yung data eh. Once we get the data, social scientists, we can analyze. But what the little data we have, ay ang laki ho ng pinanalo niya sa Balance Luzon at saka sa National Capital Region. Sa Lucena, Lingayen, just think about this nasa number 13 siya sa survey namin. Pero sa Balance Luzon, in the final count, at least 80%, not final, but in the latest count, he's number 1 in Balance Luzon. Number 1. Okay? He was never that in the survey, but he was, you know, number 12 sa amin, so he was there. In National Capital Region, number 1. Bongo is number 2. Okay. So where we was getting survey numbers in our survey, he optimized, maximized. And this is probably produkto to ng kilusan. Si Bam Aquino hindi lang kandidato, mukhang may kilusan at buhay pa yung kilusan na yon. And last minute nag-organize siya. So kailangan natin ng konti pang datos para masabi kasi yun ay interpretasyon ko lang. Pero I'm sure when we look at the data, even the age groupings, you know, I mean, he was trending among millennials, Gen Zs. That was what we were seeing in our survey. But he was number 12 in our survey. 3 weeks before the elections, he peaked, alam mo yun, and that movement came, gave the votes, and not just for him, for Kiko. So you have to look at this survey from a political science perspective. There are different images. One is the opposition really won here. Opposition Duterte, opposition Pink. And that movement, the Pink movement, is alive. Obviously, they're silent, but they've organized very well. In Central Visayas, which is a stronghold of the Dutertes, Bam Aquino is in the top 5. he still got votes in Mindanao. Of course, he was in the lower rung, no? But by and large, he ran a very good campaign, and that campaign resonated with a broad base of supporters.
Actually, sa Ilocos Norte, kanina hindi natin na-emphasize na si Bam Aquino ay
Number
mataas
two.
din.
Number two
Sa
yata.
Yeah,
Ilocos Norte to,
yes,
hindi naman number 2, pero mataas.
Nakapasok.
Mataas
Oo,
doon
mataas.
sa listahan na hindi mo aasahan bilang
Yes.
baluarte ito ng
Pero
mga
dun ho
Marcos.
sa vote rich, Calabarzon,
Kuha niya.
vote rich, siyang nag-number 1 eh.
Vote rich.
Talo pa niya sila, Senator Bong Revilla, who, was supposed to do very well in those areas. So that's just what we got from the initial results, 80%. That were 70% at the time was presented to us last night by Comelec. Of course, tumigil na yan, no? Once we get the full data, siguro we can get a better analysis of things.
Actually, even former Senator Kiko Pangilinan, nababanggit niya yon, no, na dun sa huling araw ng kampanya, sinabi niya, kumpiyansa sila, may kumpiyansa sila, very hopeful, very optimistic, kasi nakuha niya yung endorsement on that day of places like Cebu,
Yes.
na kabilang dun sa mga vote-rich areas. And we saw how it really did help his standing in this particular case. But Professor Rai, moving forward, kasi nga parang dahil nagulat yung mga tao dun sa naging resulta ng survey compared to yung actual partial unofficial results. Si Dr. Mangahas, nabanggit niya, baka may dapat mga idagdag na tanong sa mga survey. Kayo po, ano bang tinitignan yung possible changes to the way surveys are conducted? Not to say na kailangan baguhin or kailangan may baguhin.
Tama si Professor Mangahas, Dr. Mangahas, na kailangan talagang pag-isipan. Okay, there are certain outcomes of the survey over the last few cycles na hindi talaga kayang explain na survey quantitative lang. Kailangan may qualitative. We need to do more FGDs. Sa Okta, we need to get the resources to run surveys close to the election. We don't have those resources. The last survey we had was only 1,200. Very, very small sample size, but still very quite accurate. And we're very proud of the team and what came out. No? But importante, gusto ko i-emphasize, hindi na to bobotante. Hindi totoo na bobotante yung mga Filipino voters.
Nag-mature na.
Just look at the result.
That's not too small.
Yeah. Okay, I know, it's okay. Yeah.
But really are more rounds.
Yeah, more rounds.
Not
That's what we
bigger
want.
ones.
Okay.
If we could afford it, more rounds. Kasi I think we could have, all the survey firms could have gotten it right if they had more rounds, honestly. But the election outcomes we're seeing dynamic. And I just want to emphasize, yung mga botante natin, I think, I don't have the data, but I think a lot of the youth vote came out. I was talking to my students. I have a class at 11:30 mamaya. They were telling me earlier that they all voted. For the first time, they got so incensed by the initial survey results that they wanted to go out and vote.
Kanina pa natin nababanggit yung mga vote rich, ano? Pero yung religious votes, kasi isa rin sa surprisingly na nagresulta rito ay si dating Congressman Marcoleta. Sa mga survey, nasa tail end siya. Pero makita niyo yung standing niya ngayon, nasa top 10 kahit pa paano. So, malaking factor pa rin ho ba ngayon yung religious votes,
Si
Dr.
Professor Mangahas.
From experience, yung Iglesia ni Cristo, talagang solid yun.
Okay.
By solid, I mean 80%.
Okay.
Not 100, not
Okay.
80%. My feeling always has been doon, but kukunti lang sila. Mga 5% lang ang mga Iglesia ni Cristo voters. Di ba? So, I haven't seen yet that could change the standing so much. Let us see. Anyway, hindi pwedeng Iglesia lang. No? Sana yung mga Catholics. But they don't interfere.
Hindi nag-endorse ang...
Hindi nag-endorse.
I-ano lang natin, i-iterate lang natin, number 1 si Bam sa 5 probinsya ng Region 4A, which is the vote richest province or the
9
most
million
vote-rich
votes.
province. And number 6 in Cebu province, which is the most vote-rich naman na probinsya.
How about Mindanao? Ano siya?
Sa Mindanao, wala pa po tayong data. Pero those are the areas kung saan talaga maraming mga botante.